Why has this become the hardest video I have ever done? If you don't want to see it, I'm sorry. I don't have any paint left, so I can't paint over it. Hi. Okay, चश्मा उतार देती हूँ. Hi guys. So this is the same wall where I normally shoot. This is just a different angle because, as you must have got from the title, we are doing something a little bit different today. So basically, a few of you, not too many of you, but a few of you did tell me that I could use something in the background, maybe some film posters or books or something. And the problem is that where I'm sitting right now, it's my bed. This is where I shoot. And my room is like super cluttered already. So if I did put posters, firstly, I don't want 2 or 3 random, not random, but I don't want 2 or 3 films to just be on my wall and for them to define what I like, what I don't like. So I thought, you know what, I watched Rachel Maxey's channel and she has been doing these beautiful wall murals for a very long time. And I was like, you know what, I can do this also. It's not like I need a background. I just wanted to do something nice. So while I paint this mural, I will be answering some of your questions which you have sent me on Instagram and on YouTube when I asked you on a community post. So I hope you enjoy this video and let's begin. What motivated you to start this journey, and like how did you initially start all of that? Good question, and I think most of you will be very surprised by the answer. So basically what happened is in 2017 or 18, I have this friend called Simon Dar and he had started YouTube, okay, and he was always very talented. He was really good at especially, you know, comedy and stuff like that. So it was natural for him to start, but most of us were very skeptical of him, and I say us because that includes me. So we thought that, you know, why is he wasting his time instead of getting a full-time job? Like, he has all this access, you know, he's connected to the entertainment industry, so he could easily get a job somewhere. And it didn't make a lot of sense to us because at that time we didn't see YouTube as a career. But in 2018, he made this video called Toilet Investigation Department, okay? And I saw it and I was actually really surprised at how good it was, because he kept that comedy situation alive, but he just investigated these public toilets in Mumbai and did such a good job of talking about these issues that people had, and he investigated all kinds, and I realized that he's using the medium so well, and that really inspired me. Now at this time I was already just writing random reviews on Facebook, and people were telling me that I want to read a whole review by you, or I want to see videos where you explain films, etc, etc. I was also, of course, watching videos by the Nerd Writer, Every Frame a Painting, and Lessons from a Screenplay at this time. So I thought that, you know what, maybe I could start, because Simon Dar is doing so well and he's making such good content and he's getting views. So I spoke to Simon Dar. I asked him, hey, क्या कौन सा माइक यूज़ करता है बताना. And he's like, मैं तो Amazon का 150 रुपए का माइक यूज़ करता. I'm like, really, is that enough? And he's like, yeah, to begin with you can just start with that, and then if you need to upgrade you can. And I was like, wow, okay, that's great, I'll do that. So I also bought an Amazon ka 150 rupaye ka mic and I started recording. My first video was the Sairat video and I have never looked back. So if you want to know what really started me off, it was my friend Simon Dar, whom you might know as Simon Says on YouTube. He has over 1 million subscribers. That's pretty much how I started. Just generally, if anyone is wondering what the hell I'm doing, I know I also had the idea that maybe I could make a film poster, but you know what, this is where I sleep here. So I don't want some creepy eyes staring at me. I don't know, I wanted something a little more artistic. I feel like film posters are art on their own, but I want my wall to look like art, if that makes sense. And for that, oh god, my glasses are getting foggy, aren't they? then I decided that, you know what, I will incorporate my own thing into the image that sort of represents my channel, and that is Charulata. So I have drawn Charulata looking out of her balcony with her golden binoculars. Now the drawing process was really painful. I'm really bad at it, okay? So I just did it over 3 days, I think it took me to draw the whole thing. There's more on this side that you can't see right now. What do you do work-wise? That's interesting because I'm not sure right now what I do work-wise. Earlier I was working at an OTT platform, if you guys remember, MX Player. There I left because I wanted to do more with my life. So I met Anurag Kashyap, and he liked my story, but they were not really looking to produce the script I wrote at the time, etc, etc. A lot of things have happened. I've had a lot of rejections along the way. So basically now what I am doing is I am writing for Tinkle part-time, like I freelance with them, and ACK in general, Amar Chitrakatha. And then I am also writing a book. So those of you who didn't know this, I actually didn't say anything about this on YouTube, but people on Instagram know this. I have got a grant to write a book, but I'll tell you more about it when someone asks, because I think there are questions about the book. Basically these days I'm just doing time pass. Right now, these days, I'm just home. I'm kind of working on these personal projects. I am trying to make more videos. But for me, more videos literally means one video a month, you know. I'm doing a lot in my head, but I'm just sitting home. Like career-wise, I'm just chilling. Would you like to marry a filmmaker or become one? Sir, matlab... See, first of all, मुझे पता नहीं कि शादी.com पे कितने फिल्म मेकर्स मिल रहे हैं आजकल, बट यू डोंट मैरी an artist, you marry a person. So it really depends. Like they could be a brilliant filmmaker, but if they are not the right person for you, then you're not gonna be happy. So yeah, and it's not like that's kind of not how I think about people or relationships or marriage in general. So yeah, I would rather become a filmmaker. I mean, I don't like to put labels or anything, but I would like to make a film sometime, of course. Who doesn't? And I made a mess. It's okay. It's fine. By the end, my hands will be fully colored. मेरे हाथ पीले हो जाएंगे. When will your book be out? Okay. Now, I don't know when my book will be out, but I can tell you a little more about the book because I think people on YouTube don't know about it. So basically, Film Companion had like a sort of competition where they were asking people for their ideas on, you know, if they wanted to write a book on cinema. They asked people to send in their book proposals, their pitches. And I did, and I got selected. Yay! So now I am writing a book. I have received a grant from Film Companion and a suitable agency. They are doing this together, and Google Arts and Culture is also involved. If I know a lot of you have not watched this particular video that I'm going to talk about, it's about monsters and ghosts in horror films. Okay, there's a video I did about that. That's actually what I am writing the book about. It's about the portrayal of women in horror films as the monster or the ghost. So what it means, what they signify, what they say about us. And I'll be honest, I am really stressed about it right now because I don't know I don't know how I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully it'll be okay, you know. How do you stay motivated to do what you do? So I am actually not motivated most of the time, and there can be 100 reasons, okay? There can be something going on in my life. It may be my ADHD flaring up, making me not work. Generally, sometimes you don't understand why you have to do something, you know. Sometimes you just can't make yourself do it even when you want to do it. But I have realized that you still have to do things. Like just because अगर ये किया तो लाइफ में कुछ अच्छा होगा, अगर नहीं किया तो जिंदगी बर्बाद हो जाएगी. This stuff doesn't work all the time because sometimes you actually, maybe something doesn't matter. Maybe कुछ भी नहीं करने से कुछ नहीं होगा, लेकिन कुछ करने से कुछ होगा. ये नहीं किया तो और क्या ही करना है, you know. So sometimes you give yourself a break if you're not able to do something. You step out, you do something else for a while and then you come back to it and you finish it. इससे कुछ मोटिवेशन की बात नहीं है. डस्टिंग के लिए कभी मोटिवेशन मांगा है? मम्मी ने डांटा तो कर दिया ना. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम इट्स एक्चुअली दैट फॉर मी. आई एम लाइक मम्मी मेरे को सब चिल्ला रहे, इंटरनेट पे गाली दे, मेरे को वीडियो अच्छा नहीं बना. And my mom is like, just shut up and post it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, actually that's good actually. That's how I get my motivation. Most of the time it's my mom saying, you're supposed to do it, so just do it. That's how I stay motivated. How to be a director or how a director works, इस पे कोई वीडियो होगी या नहीं, तो मैंने इस बारे में ऑनेस्टली इस तरह से कभी सोचा नहीं है. डायरेक्शन ऐसी चीज़ है जो बताना मुश्किल है. मुझे नहीं लगता ये आप प्रैक्टिकली नहीं करोगे तो आपको कैसे समझ आएगा, मैं श्योर नहीं हूँ. लेकिन अगर आप पढ़ोगे ना कि कैसे अलग अलग डायरेक्टर्स काम करते हैं तो आपको बहुत कुछ पता चलेगा उनके बारे में. पहली बात तो आपको मैं कहूँगी कि आप ये समझो कि डायरेक्टर को क्या चाहिए होता है. डायरेक्टर ऐसा इंसान है जो हर चीज टेक्निकली कर सकता है अगर वो चाहे तो. मतलब वो कैमरा हैंडल कर सकता है, वो एडिट करना चाहे तो कर सकता है, और एक्टिंग भी अगर उसे करनी पड़े तो वो कर सकता है. बात ये है कि डायरेक्टर हर चीज में एक्सपर्ट नहीं है, लेकिन वो हजारों एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ काम करता है ताकि उसको जो फिल्म मिले वो उसने जो इमेजिन की है, वो ये सारे लोग जो बड़े बड़े आर्टिस्ट हैं वो सारे मिलकर उसका विजन क्रिएट कर सके. तो ये जो विजन है ये क्यों है, मतलब डायरेक्टर का काम है टू हैव गुड टेस्ट बेसिकली. मतलब डायरेक्टर को हमेशा सिर्फ अपना विजन क्लियर होना चाहिए, उसे दिखाई देनी चाहिए फिल्म उसके बनने से पहले. उसके मन में जो फिल्म है वो उसे बनानी है, किस तरह बनानी है वो सबको बताना है, अपनी टीम को बताना है, समझाना है. तो इसके बाद जब वो एडिट टेबल पे आती है फिल्म, तब क्या होता है, डायरेक्टर ने अपनी विजन से फिल्म को शूट कर लिया, लेकिन एडिट टेबल पर आने से जो एडिटर होते हैं उनकी बदौलत एक नई फिल्म बनती है. ठीक है, जो कि थोड़ी अलग हो सकती है डायरेक्टर के विजन से, लेकिन कई बार बेहतर हो सकती है. डायरेक्टर का विजन शुरू करता है फिल्म को. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल बॉन्ग जून हो ने पैरासाइट जो उनकी फिल्म है जो बहुत फेमस है, जो जिसको ऑस्कर भी मिला था बेस्ट पिक्चर के लिए, तो बॉन्ग जून हो इतने ज़्यादा पर्टिकुलर है अपने विजन को लेके कि उन्होंने अपनी फिल्म को शूट करने से पहले वो हर दिन उस दिन के शॉट्स जो भी उनको लेने हैं उनको वो स्टोरी बोर्ड बना के रखते थे, हाथ से ड्रॉ कर लेते थे एक एक फ्रेम की ये होना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो इतने स्ट्रेस्ड और एंग्शियस होते थे कि मुझे ये बनाना है तो मैं किस तरह से इसे बनाऊं. तो ये डायरेक्टर का काम होता है कि उसको हर चीज दिखनी चाहिए, क्या क्या बनाना है, क्या क्या देखना है, क्या क्या करना है, हर इंसान को कैसे काम करवाना है, ये सब चीजें डायरेक्टर को समझ में आनी चाहिए. जैसे अगर आप भंसाली की फिल्म देखोगे तो उनका अलग विजन दिखेगा. उनके विजन में प्रिसिशन होता है कि मुझे खूबसूरती चाहिए. खूबसूरती का मतलब मेरे लिए सिमेट्री है, मेरे लिए ऑप्युलेंस है. डायरेक्टर को हमेशा संभलना पड़ता है कि एक्टर कहीं परेशान ना हो जाए. तो आप एक्टर पे चिल्ला नहीं सकते. क्यों? क्योंकि एक्टर अपनी इमोशंस के द्वारा अपने भाव व्यतीत कर रहे हैं. उनको जरूरी है कि वो हमेशा सेफ फील करें, या जो भी उनको महसूस करना है उसी में वो फील करें. एक्टर्स 100,000 लोगों के सामने परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. जो क्रू है, बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं सेट पे कई बार, तो उनके सामने परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. उन पर बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस है. वो ऑलरेडी सोच रहे हैं कि ये सारे लोग देख रहे हैं, क्या सोच रहे हैं. ऊपर से अगर आप एज अ डायरेक्टर उन्हें कंफर्टेबल नहीं फील करा पाते तो वो और परेशान हो जाएंगे. जैसे कि सत्यजीत रे ये करते थे. एक बार मैंने किसी का लिखा हुआ एक ऐसे पढ़ा था, वो एक सीन शूट कर रहे थे शतरंज के खिलाड़ी के लिए अमजद खान के साथ, और वो एक क्रेन शॉट था. तो वो क्राउड के बीच में अमजद खान बस किसी प्रोसेशन में या किसी में जा रहे हैं और वो सत्यजीत रे क्रेन पर बैठे हैं ऊपर, तो वो शूट कर रहे थे और अमजद खान के कोई लाइंस नहीं थे, कुछ नहीं था. अचानक सत्यजीत रे ने फाइनली कट बोला एक पॉइंट पे, और वो गए अमजद खान के पास. वो उतरे क्रेन से और अमजद खान तक गए, उनको कुछ बोला उनके कान में और वापस आ गए. तो उनके सिनेमाटोग्राफर ने उनको पूछा कि आपने क्या बोला उनको जाके, इतनी दूर आप उतर कर गए. उन्होंने बोला, मैंने उनको कहा कि सिर्फ अपना सर जरा उधर कर लो. तो इसका क्या रीज़न है, कि आप क्यों वहाँ तक जाएंगे, आप अपने सीट से चिल्ला कर भी बोल सकता है, आपके पास माइक्रोफोन होता है, क्योंकि एक्टर के मस्तिष्क पर ऐसा असर पड़ेगा उसका कि अब लोग देख रहे हैं कि मेरा सिर कौन सी तरफ है और डायरेक्टर मुझ पे दूर से बोल रहा है। आपके और एक्टर के बीच में है जो भी है, दुनिया को उसमें मत इन्वॉल्व कीजिए एज अ डायरेक्टर। सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट आई हैव लर्नड। ये सब मुझे लगता है कि इम्पोर्टेंट है। इसके अलावा अगर मुझे अलग से सच में लगेगा किसी फिल्म को देखकर कि मैं डायरेक्टर के बारे में आप लोगों को बताऊं, तो फिर मैं ज़रूर वीडियो बनाऊंगी। बट फिलहाल मेरे मन में ऐसा कुछ अलग से नहीं है, क्योंकि आप ये समझिए कि फिल्म को देखने के नज़रिए पर सब कुछ निर्भर करता है। क्योंकि मैं इस चैनल पे फिल्मों को किस तरह से देखा जाए उसको लेकर ज़्यादा उसकी चर्चा करना पसंद करती हूँ, कि आप फिल्म के हर पहलू पर नज़र डालें, ताकि आप एज अ क्रिएटिव, आपका जो भी काम हो, भले आप डायरेक्टर हो या राइटर हो या आर्टिस्ट हो या जो भी, आपका नज़रिया थोड़ा नुआंस्ड हो, थोड़ा सोफिस्टिकेटेड हो, ताकि आप दुनिया को और अच्छी तरह से देख सके, साफ साफ देख सके, जो चीज़ें छुपी हुई हैं आपसे आप वो देख सके। मेरा यही उद्देश्य है। आई एम सॉरी टू एनीवन हु डजंट अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी। आई होप समवन विल ट्रांसलेट इट इन द कमेंट्स एक्चुअली, बिकॉज if I start doing subtitles for this video, it will never come out. So somebody has said that they want me to make essays on anti-caste themes and identity and resistance films, and I want to know your views on these movies, and I'm curious why you haven't made any videos on any of these movies. And they have mentioned Sairat also. My first video was about Sairat. The thing is, look, I talk about caste in almost every other video I make these days, if you'll notice, because I do realize that I have a responsibility to talk about things when I have a platform. I am a Savarna woman, so I don't try to push my some sort of a savior complex or anything कि I will rid people of caste discrimination. मेरे ऐसे कोई biases नहीं है. I don't have any such grand ideas about myself at least. So मैं कोशिश करती हूँ कि हमेशा जहाँ पर भी मुझे कास्ट का एक एंगल दिखे मैं उसको ज़रूर हाईलाइट करूँ. बट द फैक्ट इज, सॉरी आई स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग हिंदी अगेन, आई ट्राई टू हाईलाइट कास्ट wherever it is visible. But I haven't watched a lot of films. So it's not just films about caste. You'll see a lot of directors have been mentioned in these questions that are coming up. I haven't watched most directors. The very famous, the very art housey directors also I haven't watched. And that's just how it is, because most of the time I just watch what I feel like watching. I can be motivated to do work I don't want to do, but I cannot be motivated to watch a film when I'm not in the mood to watch it, even though this is part of my work. But I do want to watch Fandry and some of the other films you have mentioned. I think you mentioned Masan. I have watched Masan, of course. I'll have to go back and rewatch a lot of this also, because I watched them a very very long time ago. देखिए ऐसा नहीं है that I don't care about caste. I do, and that's why I talk about it when I can. But I don't want to do lip service here. I want to talk about films and their political connotations, their cultural, social connotations. I'm trying to discuss whatever comes up. I hope that's okay. Okay, I think I'm going to take one more question for today, and the rest we can do at a later time. The last question I want to read out for you is, are you procrastinator or having hard time or work because the gap between videos is little big? You are a right, sir. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of your English. I'm just reading it like that because it's a good question and it's a funny question, because I do feel like that. Dekho bhai, I am a procrastinator, 100%. It has a lot to do with my ADHD. I'm not gonna lie. It is diagnosed. So yeah, it's a problem. The problem with ADHD is that you sometimes, when you can do things, you can do them till you drop dead. But when you can't do things, you just can't do things. So I was medicated for a while. Now I'm not. I'm able to manage on my own for most of it. It helps to be in a schedule, so I do try to stay on schedule every day, like whatever I'm doing throughout the day. It's not just about procrastination, but also about what film has moved me at what point. if I have a film that I want to urgently talk about, like the reel I made the day before yesterday about Sitare Zameen Par and Hirok Raja Deshe, that was actually like I just got the idea and I realized, okay, ye jaldi ho sakta hai and I can make it quickly, and this is very very topical, so I have to make it quickly. So I did it within a day and I uploaded it in the morning. So when I can do that, I do that. But for long form videos, it becomes very difficult because I do not have the mental bandwidth to edit most of the time. It also has to do with the fact that I'm not here to just make content, just put something out. You have to keep putting stuff out. I get it, but that's not how this channel works. I have to make content that I like and that I believe in. I will still make videos that are not that great. That also happens. That's not a big deal, happens to everyone. My main objective is to make sure that whatever I'm producing has some, it has some value to me and to the audience. So that's my main thing. So I think the rest of the questions will be done at a later time, maybe tomorrow, maybe later today. So I'm just gonna finish a little more of this and then we can catch up in a bit. Why has this become the hardest video I have ever done? It's because just recording a video, not a problem. I've gotten used to it now. Just painting, no problem. I can do it. Painting and recording a video, the worst thing ever. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do today. As you can see, I've kind of painted some of the base paint stuff, the sari, the balcony. So what I want to do with you specifically, just to make this easier for me, is to paint the intricate parts, so like the grills and Charu's face, etc., so that you get a glimpse of how I'm doing things. I mean, it doesn't really matter while I answer the questions, and then I will try to add a montage of me painting other things. But just generally speaking, I can't do this whole thing on camera. It's becoming very painful. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, this was supposed to be a Q&A video, so let's begin. How do you decide whether you have overanalyzed details in a shot or not? That is not something to worry about, honestly, guys. This whole thing about... Actually, I think I should change the angle. Now, I know that a lot of people have made you feel like over analyzing is such a problem, and at least begin to analyze. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people are going to stop you before you even get to the point. But most of the time, you haven't even scratched the surface of the shot. Yes, you will find a lot of things that the filmmaker did not intend, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. For example, if you guys have watched my reel about Jalsa and Gaslight, I referenced the film Gaslight and the term gaslighting, which comes from the play on which the film is based, the Gaslight film. And the director actually commented saying, we really didn't think of this, so it's nice to see people talking about it. This is true even for Choked. When Anurag Kashyap watched it, he told me this.
एक लड़की है, किसी का मैंने देखा, पहली बार मैंने किसी को इतना जल्दी फिल्म के रिलीज के इतने कम समय में बहुत सारी चीजें पकड़ते हुए देखा. इनफैक्ट इतनी चीजें जितनी की मैंने भी नहीं सोची थी. कुछ चीजें तो मैंने भी इंटेंड नहीं की थी. उसका देखने का नजरिया ही ऐसा था कि मैं इतना खुश हो गया था. कोई पारोमा करके लड़की है, उसने अपना वीडियो बनाया था.
So you don't have to worry about over analyzing. Most of the time, that is not a thing, okay? Most of the time, it's just people telling you कि कम सोचो, सोचना कम कर दो. And yes, if you're an overthinker like me, that may be good advice when it comes to situations in your life. But when it comes to art, there is nothing wrong with thinking extra. I'm just gonna take one more question in this video and then I will show you a montage, and then with the final reveal, I will take all the rest of the questions, okay? How many times do you watch a movie? Depends on what you're talking about. If you're saying how many times do I watch it before making a video? Usually, suppose I've watched it already. Then I will maybe watch it one more time after I get an idea for a video. Then I will watch it a second time while making my notes. But if I'm just watching for fun, I can end up watching a movie a million times instead of watching new films. Because a lot of people have asked me, of course, have you seen Tarkovsky and Jodorowsky? No, I have not seen anything. I just keep watching the same masala movies over and over again. And there's nothing really wrong with it. Most of the time, I'm trying to demystify a film for myself. So what that means is that for example, recently I was rewatching Bhool Bhulaiya with my friend. And for the first time in decades, like it's decades old at this point, right? I got an idea. I realized I have an idea for a video basically. I can't tell you what the idea is right now. But basically, I got an idea for the first time. Until that point, I had been seeing it from a very different lens. And at this point, I have a totally different perspective on it just because I noticed certain things which I had earlier only been enjoying, you know. I had just been watching those scenes for fun and being like haha kya time pass hai, but now I realize the purpose of those scenes, you know. So it's really interesting how much you can discover from rewatching a film 100 million times. I should probably not give such long answers if I want this video to end. So I think I'm gonna finish the rest of this and then I will see you on the other side. Okay, so let me just give you a quick tour of what I've done. As you can see, I made some creepers on the pillar and I also did this like little shrub at the bottom, which you'll mostly not see in videos. I gave some highlights and stuff to Charu's face and a necklace. We've got the swing from the film where she swings while looking at Amol. We've got this little tree here and we've got all of these little grass whatever. Can you see it? Great success. Yes, high five. Ta-da! So let's get on with the next few questions. What is cinema according to you? Listen, all this does not matter. I don't like this sort of motivational, inspirational dialogue you get from people when you ask this question. I think cinema is whatever you want it to be. I think there are reels on Instagram which are so good they qualify as cinema. I think YouTube videos can qualify as cinema. The good ones, not this. Anything that is cinematic to you that has been recorded on a camera, I think is cinema. 3 favorite films of yours. A lot of people have asked me for 10 films, 5 films, 3 films. It's very difficult to choose a favorite. I don't like to name favorites for that reason, which is why I didn't want to put posters on my wall in the first place. Because how do you pick? What happens when you fall out of love with a film? Does that never happen to anyone else? Because I know that I've grown out of a lot of films. And yes, certain films will always remain beautiful, which is why I was confident about painting this imaginary scene from Charulata. But ultimately, Charulata doesn't define me, nor does any other film. And the fact is that I can never at one point of time pick 3 films. Literally right now, I cannot think of 3 films. And like I said at the end of my Disciple video, which got blocked, which is now on Instagram by the way, after I make a video, that film leaves me. So what's the point of calling a film a favorite if I no longer go back to that film with the same emotional intensity? So yeah, there are no favorites for me. I am sorry to give you that answer. If you're looking for recommendations, I can give you show recommendations. For example, the latest show I watched was Nagin, the one with Mouni Roy. So check that out. It's very interesting to watch your videos blended with cinema and psychology, how you learn all of it. So this is generally a question I get. How do you appreciate films? How do you know what to look for? Listen, the fact is you are not just studying film appreciation. you are studying the world, so you have to be interested in politics, psychology, religion, mythology, storytelling, literature, paintings. Everything in the world has to interest you. Just because you find something interesting, you don't just look at it in awe and walk away. You need to dig deeper. You need to learn more. You need to study more, watch more videos about it, check multiple sources, see what opposing forces are saying about something. When someone makes a random statement, wonder why they made it. Ask yourself who that person is, what that person wants, what that person is trying to tell you. When you start questioning the world around you, that's how you learn about cinema. Find what is interesting and dig deeper. That's all. Okay, so a few people are asking about, somebody has asked, why are Hindi horror films so bad? And I think somebody also asked about why comedy films are not good anymore. The answer to all of your separate questions is that the film industry itself, the Hindi film industry, is not doing so well right now. There are a million reasons. If I bring up the political reasons, it's going to piss everyone off. It has a lot to do with the politics of the country. The politics affects the economics. The economics affect those who have the money. They decide what art gets made because they pay for the art. And when they decide that they don't want to pay for certain types of art, that art doesn't get made. So if you really think about it, the era in the early 2000s, from the early 2000s to say 2013, 14 even, before, just at the point when this government was forming, you had all those great films. Think about from Dil Chahta Hai to, if you're talking about comedies, think about Hera Fairy, Bhool Bhulaiya. Today there is some good horror coming out if you think about Khauf, the series on Prime Video, for example. But these are so sparse and these are taking so long to be released. It's because nobody wants to take risks when there is a money crunch. Nobody wants to invest in something they think is good. I read an article recently and a lot of writers said that, we wanted a different ending in this show, but the producers wanted to go with a formulaic ending. So they changed it, and then the viewers came to us and told us that the ending was terrible. The fact that the money bags are deciding what creativity should look like is the problem. And this happens when the economy has gone to shit. So I hate to tell you like that, but that's the truth. There are good horror films, good comedy films if you look around. It's okay if they are not being made in the Indian context right now. They will be, don't worry. Everything comes in cycles. Bad art, terrible times happen. They go, they come back. That's life. Have you seen all the top 250 films in IMDb? No, I don't even know what they are. What should regional films like Bengali, Marathi, Punjabi, etc. do differently to go on par with their Hindi and Southern counterparts? See, number one, Bengali, Marathi and Punjabi, these three are very small industries compared to South or Hindi film industry. The other thing is that just because those industries are big doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good thing. If you think about all the recent Telugu films that have been very popular, I did talk about this in my masculinity video. It's going to upset a lot of people, but it is just toxic masculinity. It's not doing any good to the country where, already this Hindutva hyper-masculinity is a problem. It's not nuanced. There is a lot of big action, big cinematography. Not everything being big is always good. I'm not saying there are no good films in the South. If you look at Malayalam, the best films in the country probably at any time. Even in Assam, you have people like Reema Das and Bhaskar Hazarika who have made wonderful films. But who is watching wonderful films? How many people? And it's not that they're all very complicated films. And Avesham, for example, it's something that anyone can enjoy, anyone who speaks any language. But how does a small industry make it that big? It's very difficult to become mainstream and remain high quality. So that is why even when you think of Bengali films like that are classics, or like a Satyajit Ray or a Ritvik Ghatak, they were never really mainstream. So even in Bengal, the mainstream films are pretty, generic. Sometimes they're even copied from the South, etc. So in fact, if something becomes too big, it cannibalizes on the other industries. I remember when this Bengali film was supposed to be released, and at the same time, Bahubali 2 was coming out. So because the distributors were so hung up on getting all the money out of Bahubali 2, the Bengali film wasn't given enough distribution. So it wasn't even showing up on enough screens, even in Kolkata. So a lot of the times it's not in the filmmaker's hands or the producer's hands or even the industry's hands, because what the country watches depends on the culture of the country at that time. And the culture of the country at this time, you already know. I have talked about it 100 times. So that's all I'm going to say. Next question. I used to watch movies just for fun, but now I look at them more critically and appreciate the craft. Is that a common shift when people start watching more meaningful or art films? I feel like you are doing some sort of studies when you have a pod with Meera Nair. I think you're talking about the conversation I had with Meera Nair on Filmcopath's channel. I'll link that video up there. Can you give us a better perspective to watch or a bit massy film which we can enjoy with people who are bit casual while watching? Okay, so you are talking about watching commercial films more critically while also educating a more casual viewer. That's what I'm getting from you. So yes, you are right. I think sometimes when you are interested in art, when you are interested in cinema, already you have some kind of a germ. You will appreciate art films, and that will lead you to just generally wonder why art films just look or feel better than certain commercial films. So then you go on this journey and maybe you learn a lot of things. I think you've identified that you also need to implement the knowledge you gain from watching art films to mass appeal films, which is what I am kind of trying to do on this channel. I'm being limited by the number of copyright strikes I get, but that's generally what I try to do. Firstly, when you're trying to educate another person, it's very important to not alienate them. Remember that they are just there to watch and have fun with the movie. So especially if they like Houseful 4, for example, your first reaction should not be to diss them and tell them what is wrong with you, who can watch, because you'll alienate them more. They will not want to listen to you. They will not want to change. You can ask them what they like about it. You will probably notice that they ignored a lot of the things which you found problematic. So at that point, you can start engaging with them in a positive way. You could show them comedy films which you think are good and they will enjoy but are still meaningful. There are a lot of Hindi films like that. So slowly you can get them into watching seriously, not serious cinema, but to watch cinema responsibly. And if someone doesn't want to do it, you can't force them. It's good to just enjoy cinema as long as you are happy doing that. There's no reason to feel upset about anyone else not getting the cinema that you like. It's okay, you can enjoy things on your own, make it your own thing. Do you think due to the rise of short form content, reels and film? So it's really funny actually that a lot of people say that reels and TikTok are ADHD related or they cause ADHD. As a person with ADHD, I assure you, I generally like to watch long form content. In fact, most of the time I'm watching series instead of films because I want to focus on something continuously because my focus is so shifty. So I don't like to go from one quick thing to the next because my mind is already doing that. So I want to stay focused on one steady thing. The point I'm making is that ultimately films will remain films. There will be feature films, there will be short films, there will be series. It's just new forms of content being reproduced. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. Filmmaking will always persist in different forms. It's just that the forms are evolving and they are growing in number, which is a good thing. Which character traits do you find most appealing in films? Are there any, or do you take each character as they are? Yes, I take each character as they are. The character should not be flat. Sometimes what happens is you write a character. As a writer, you are writing about yourself, which is normal, but you have to introspect within yourself. First you have to question who you are. You have to exaggerate certain traits, subdue certain traits. You have to bring color to the character. Saying grey characters is not enough. Even if your character is fully evil, 90% if it's Mogambo also has a persona. What is that persona? What gives him that personality? Is it the actor? Is it the writing? So you have to build a character. Your thought on Vineet Masram, Cinema Beyond Entertainment, who recently passed away. Also other YouTube film review channels who only review films, nothing more. Of course, Vineet Masram was the one who was doing this before I started, and when I decided that I want to make video essays, I checked YouTube to see if there are any other Indian channels, and only his channel popped up at the time, and I noticed that he was making something very different from what I had in mind. So I was happy to make my own stuff, even though I really appreciated the work he was doing. So it was really shocking when he passed away. We have to learn from whatever he has left behind and pick up from there. I don't think there's anything wrong with other review channels, etc. The more channels there are reviewing films, the more films will get reviewed. You know, now that a lot of the, you know, North Indian reaction channels and stuff, a lot of people think that that's a bad thing. But I think because they're reviewing so many South Indian films, a lot of good films are getting, you know, the publicity that they deserve. I'm talking about smaller films. I'm not talking about the KGFs and the Pushpas of the world. So it's very important for a lot of dialogue to happen around cinema. And if we want intelligent dialogue to happen on one hand, there will of course be inane or not very intelligent dialogue on another hand. And we have to accept that. Everything has its place. So yeah. Do films really change or impact society? Because if they do, then as Manoj Bajpayee said, we would be living in heaven. I personally don't know. Sometimes I think Manoj was right, and sometimes I feel ki how can it not have any impact? And also, do you think film as a medium is dying? No, film as a medium is not dying. No medium is going to die. It's only going to evolve. Yes, cinema has an impact on society. It's not, nothing is perfect, okay? When it comes to appreciating the impact of good films, many of us who are too snooty to acknowledge the good that Lapata Ladies has done, for example, we'll say ki kitni simplistic hai, it's like whatever. We don't realize that there are women in Gorakhpur who told the cast and crew, I think, that, you know, it was so relatable to us, it inspired me so much to do more, be more. We don't acknowledge the good things that are happening from good cinema, but then we are forced to acknowledge that films like Chhawa are creating this divide in society. There is impact on both sides. There is good impact, there is bad impact. Sometimes there's a disbalance, sometimes the bad is getting ahead. At such a time, it is very important to not lose hope and say कि फिल्म बना के कुछ नहीं होगा, खराब फिल्में ही देखना चाहते हैं लोग. नहीं, लोगों की गलती नहीं है. तुमने, people have not asked you to make bad films. You are making bad films and people have gotten used to it. People want something to watch. If you make a Lagan, people will watch it. They will accept that idea of diversity and unity in the country. If you give them Chhawa, they will go to Aurangzeb's grave and start digging it or whatever. I don't know what people were up to. So of course, film has an impact on society. It's a very direct impact on many occasions, depending on how intelligent or educated society is at that point, you know, as a collective. Asking for a utopian situation is not going to help. Progress is always countered by regression. So you will always have progressive and regressive films. To balance that, you have to make progressive films. That's all. The culture industry manipulates people's minds by presenting narratives that, okay, that's a very long this thing, government regimes, yes. Are we missing the representation of Bharat in contemporary cinema? What are your thoughts on this perspective? See, even the fact that you are using the word Bharat, it became a thing because of this government, that we don't use India anymore, we use Bharat. You know why they did that, right? They did that because the India alliance was formed. We are also unknowingly falling into this regime's destructive ideologies and propaganda. We are not missing the representation as such. In fact, the films we are getting now are a representation of the times we are living in. For example, when Hitler was there in Germany, he had propaganda films made showing how great he is. And today we look at that and we understand how he became so powerful. So when these films that are being made now will be watched in the future, then people will know that, oh, this is the kind of propaganda they were spreading against Muslims, they had a problem with films that, brought up Dalit issues, etc. These are all part of history. Ultimately, these films do represent the society we live in. We can't say that they don't. It's just a very ugly society that we have become. So there have to be good films that also criticize that same society, which there are. There are quite a few. Sometimes they see the light of day, sometimes they don't. A very good film I watched recently was Stolen, which talks about our role as the urban elite public in all of this, while also talking about this rumor mongering, WhatsApp propaganda, which comes from all directions and hurts society as a whole. So there are good films like that, but look at that, it didn't get a theatre release for years. Then they had to release it on Amazon. It's really about the money. Who has the money? Those who want hatred have the money right now, so that's why we are suffering. If you get a chance to see an artist working, who will it be? I don't have any such ideas, honestly, but I will say that I did watch Anurag Kashyap working working on Kennedy. That was really nice. Like, it was very chill. It was the middle of the night. They were shooting on the road in Kala Ghoda in Mumbai, and it was a very quiet, very relaxed set. I think that just shows the kind of director you have. He's very calm. I've heard that a lot of directors are very wild and loud and shout at their crew, but I think he's very aware of where he is and how the film. So everything was very relaxed. I think that's a good way to work. How should one perceive Indian cinema and Western cinema with different lens? Always remember that Western cinema comes from photography, okay, and paintings. It was derived from the art of motion picture itself. So visuals came first, then audio came, then the different styles were developed. For India, filmmaking has always been a direct derivation of theatre. So in fact, I was recently reading a book, Masala Shakespeare, one of my favorite books, where Jonathan Gill Harris talks about how the Parsis of Bombay were making the pre-independence Shakespearean cinema from the plays that they had. That's how Indian cinema developed. That's why, you know, when Americans say, oh, is it a musical or is it not a musical? In India, all films were musicals, because music and dance is an absolutely integral part of traditional Indian theatre. I talked about this in my video about theatre and Indian filmmaking, but that was also taken down by Red Chillies on Instagram and on YouTube, so I'm not gonna talk about this anymore. I think I've largely answered most of the questions. This is a very long video, but I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think of this new background. If you don't want to see it, I'm sorry, I don't have any paint left, so I can't paint over it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope I answered most of your questions. There will be more Q&As in the future, so we can all interact. My book that I'm working on, I'm very excited about it. Once it's finished, I will definitely let you know, and maybe, you know, then if it's out, you can all support me or something like that. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.